It's not about motivation. Winners need discipline. Wake up and win today. Discipline comes from within.
Boxing King Media in association with Boxers, delighted to have with me promoter Ben Shalom. Ben, great to see you first. How are we?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Press conference. It's taken over 5 years, or close to 5 years, for the rematch to finally take place. How much effort? How hard was it to put it together?
Always knew the fight would happen. Finding the right venue was difficult. For a fight like this, we looked at Bournemouth. They couldn't do it this summer. Obviously been there 4 times and been phenomenal with Chris. And then it was, where's the best place for it? We've been talking to Steve Parish and Crystal Palace for a while about Richard. And then you sort of sat there thinking, Wembley Arena, O2, in the summer, this can be bigger than that. You know, this can be a spectacle. This can be an outdoor event that people really want to go to. So obviously had to speak to Chris Smith. He has to accept, I'm going to go into Crystal Palace. But he's a warrior and he's a champion, and we've seen that throughout the time we represented him. I said up there, after 6 weeks he fought Isaac Chamberlain, and he just keeps taking every challenge. Got his world title against Lawrence Okoli as a challenger in his hometown. But I actually think on this occasion, given the support that Chris has, you're going to see a huge travelling support come up from Bournemouth. So really it was venue, and I have to say thank you so much to Steve Parish and Crystal Palace, because you've seen so many fighters that want to fight in their hometown at their stadium for a world title, and sometimes you just can't get the clubs on board. They don't really know or buy into it. They have got behind this. This is 100 years of Sellers Park. They want to create a festival out of it. We've got a huge undercard. You're going to see music acts. It's going to be very, very different experience. And to do it in London, in South London, for them it's special. They've got the Palace for Life Foundation that they're massively behind as well, and Richard's extremely passionate about it. So it's all come together, and to deliver for Richard a world title in this sort of environment is special. With Chris Smith got his opportunity last year. That's all you can do as a promoter, and then it's up to them to see who the better man is.
Obviously, when you won the Sky contract, both those fighters trusted you to take their careers to this particular level. You've done a lot for Chris, made him a world champion. You've done a lot for Richard. I know you're very close with Richard as well. In terms of going to Selhurst Park now, do we expect an absolute sellout? Do you think we can achieve that feat? I
really do, because I think sometimes with boxing fans, they like a night out, they like to party, they like an experience, and so do sports fans. A day before the Euros, and when we made this decision, I saw a lot of raised eyebrows, because Richard hasn't always been, you know, that local Chris Smith type character with 15,000, 10,000 people behind him, but already with a pre-sale. This is phenomenal. We just did Wardley Clark, so we know sort of where numbers are at in London. Buatsi Aziz sold extremely well as well. This is way ahead of both of them. Way ahead. General sale tomorrow. But as I say, I think it's the experience, I think it's a spectacle. The day before the Euros, you've got an unbelievable main event. We've got 2 big fights to announce on the card next week, in addition to what was announced today. It'll be a very special night, and Bournemouth as well, I have to thank them. They're putting on their coaches, they're getting all their travelling support right behind Chris Smith. It's not going to be, like Bournemouth, where it's everyone's on, it's going to be split right down the middle. I do believe that, but really cracking spectacle. And I think for British boxing, we've just tried this year to put on as many British big fights that we can. Obviously starting with Mayor Jonas, not British, but in Liverpool, went into Buatsi Aziz, Wardley Clark, Lauren Price gets her big night in Cardiff, which will be another great event and an atmosphere. Lawrence Okoli obviously goes out in Poland to fight for his world title, and then the big one. This really will be massive, and for British boxing, and in the summer as well, it's a big event. And I'm just delighted for both guys, because they've both been patient.
Chris has spoken about his financial route in boxing, where he spoke about not making a lot of money, and when he made £30,000-40,000, there's a lot of expenses coming with that as well. He's now at his highest point of earning. Richard, I just spoke to him now, and he sets himself and his family up for life. How does that feel as a promoter, where you're able to put 2 great fighters together, and both of them are happy that they're earning life-changing money?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of talk around what you should do as a promoter, but fundamentally your job is to the fighter, and to make sure that they are delivered for, and they're set up as best that you can. And I think one thing I've learned as a promoter is when you have a lot of fighters in the same division, it's quite hard. But I look back now, and Lawrence Okoli has made life-changing money, not had the performance he wants, but have managed to get him the world title he wanted, and a division that he's more comfortable off the back of it. Chris Smith has gone from European level really to fighting 4 times in his hometown, changed his life, like from in a way that he could have probably never believed. Fought in his home stadium, world champion now. And Richard Riakporhe was one of our first signings when we got Sky, and as you said, someone I'm close to personally. So to see him develop as a boxer, which he really has, he's unrecognisable from the brawler that we saw in his first 10 fights. Now get his world title opportunity, but as well to do it in South London. That's what it's about, and that's what I'll always focus on and pride myself on, and it's amazing to see their dreams come to fruition. I think to fight for a world title is one thing. They both have now had a stadium night to go along with that. It's pretty special, but they've got to do the business now. You know, the pressure's on. You can't ask for anything more, but both of them need to really perform on June the 15th. Richard will be absolutely desperate.
Going to ramble through the next few questions. I know we're tight for time, but Ben Whittaker obviously on this card as well. Recently, you took him to America. He wants to fight there. He's like, I went to the Gleason's gym in Brooklyn, and everyone was recognizing me, and it was like a surreal moment for someone who's only been in the sport for a short amount of time. Yeah, he's on the card. Excited that he's back in the ring as well.
Yeah, activity is key, and superstars been created off the back of it. And yeah, as he said, it is surreal because when we sat down and when we debuted, we believed that he can become the face of the sport, but to be going out to New York 6 fights in and then being stopped in the Yankees game on the street in America, they don't know. Most American fighters, world champions, when we get stopped. It's not the biggest sport out there. So for him as a UK fighter to do that shows a big sign of things to come, and yeah, activity is key. And another big night for Ben Whittaker where he'll be looking to steal the show.
Got to ask you, I have asked you this before, but I'll ask you again. Ben Whittaker, you said you've secured him for a foreseeable future for now. I spoke to Ben and I said, how are things? He said, I'm happy. I said, you put a tweet out not long ago. He goes, I hit the wrong emoji. Obviously, Frank Smith made a comment about him having 1 fight left as well. We know he's hot property. It's just like Mohamed Salah plays for Liverpool. Give an example because you're a Liverpool fan. He's got a year left. Everyone will be after him as well. Similar scenario. Are you confident that he stays with you, and do you have him for a long-term future?
Yeah, I saw some comments, but he's in a long-term deal, but he wants to be in a long-term deal. What we've done so far in a short space of time has been phenomenal. There's some massive nights to come. I think those fighters that you sign from debut mean even more, go the extra mile. And he's always going to create talking points. He's a character. He's someone that will rub people up the wrong way. He's someone that will create talking points. He's someone that will do things sometimes where you're left scratching your head. But that's what happens when you're working with greats, and they're all a bit crazy, and I've said that. But yeah, Ben's a major part of our plans, and I'm excited to see him grow because look at what's happened in the first few fights. This is going to be a special journey.
What is the latest with Joshua Buatsi and Anthony Yarde? We've heard Frank's version. There's some issues going on there, but from your perspective, how long do you be patient and wait before considering other options for Joshua?
We're having to look at other options, but yeah, just really frustrated. Not just myself, Josh. You know, there's nothing really we could do about that situation. I hope that it would be announced by now. Where there is even talk about it potentially coming onto this show as well. So frustrating for everyone. But yeah, of course we'll have to start looking. But I'm still hopeful because it's the obvious fight. It's the fans that the fight. It's the fight that the fans want. It's a perfect time in both their careers. It's very frustrating that it's not been made yet.
I mean, there might be legalities around this particular question, but if there is a situation where Anthony Yarde splits with Frank or something like that happens, does that fight become easier for you to make then? Look,
I can't comment on that at this point because that's not what is being said. And I was really looking forward to doing a Boxer Queensbury show. I really was. And I was looking forward to that fight. And we represent Josh Buatsi. And we're just interested in the best opportunities and the best career for Josh Buatsi. He had a great performance against Dan Aziz. Fantastic night. Showed his pulling power, actually. Sold really well. Big numbers. And we're just frustrated that we've not seen that fight. The reasons why, I think, are clear. But what can we do? You know, we're sat here and have done everything we could on our side.
Chris Eubank Jr., a free agent, someone who is also hot property in the boxing world. Is there a chance that you could work with him again? I know there was a rumoured Kell Brook fight that's collapsed for now, but could we see yourself and Sky teaming up with Chris Eubank Jr.?
Look, we've worked with him a few times through Wasserman, but in this market, fighters in the latter stage of their career that have the pulling power are going to have a lot of options. And so it's new news. He's going to be speaking to everyone, and we'll see what happens. But he'll have a huge amount of options.
Final one, Ben. Obviously, we've seen Saudi now working with PBC, so many other promoters. Could we see yourself, Saudi, work together? I'm sure you would want to work together because we're seeing huge events and fights that we think that can't be made are being made.
Yeah, look, we'd love to, but ultimately we can only control what we can control. And so far, in Britain, we're delivering everything that we can. And we have to work within our budget, but the events that we've delivered and what we've done so far this year, I'm very proud of the team. Maya Jonas, into Buatsi Aziz, into Wardley Clark, Lauren Price in Wales, Lawrence Okoli gets his world title shot. Then we've got another world title here. We believe we have the best British talent. We believe we can put on the biggest British shows, and that's what we'll try and continue to deliver. But yeah, of course, and what they're doing in the sport is incredible. And what is great is that they've taken a promoter-agnostic approach. I've seen PBC, as you said, so I'm sure that will happen. And in the meantime, we will put on the biggest events we can in this country.
Shalom, always a pleasure, and we'll catch up with you very soon.
Thank you, bro.
Win gold now. IPMB is giving away 5 24-karat gold coins to our token holders worth over $2,000 each.
Let's do this.
Thank you very much for this great news. It's amazing.
It's never been easier to own gold, so join the raffle now.
I got a question for you. Where can discipline take you? Discipline points you toward your goals.